back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have been, knowing that this day will never come again, as my spirit's guiding me to a place where I am free to be all that I can be. Here I am in stories that I know, feeling safe yet yearning to go. Time and dreams, partners in a dance, choosing steps with every new chance, as my spirit's guiding me to a place where I am free to be all that I can be.
And welcome to Synchronicity and Your Life. And I am Jane McGuire, and my co-host
Elena Risto.
Yay,
I
she
didn't even
got it.
hesitate this time.
She got it. And today we are broadcasting live from All Talk Radio 2.
Brand new studio.
Beautiful.
Actually, it's been open for a while.
Yeah.
I don't want to go home.
I know, right?
I
So
know.
we need all of you to sponsor us so that we can stay at this beautiful station here.
Or at least call in so we can get the numbers up.
Right?
And
Okay.
then we can go to somebody and say, hey, we've got so many people that are,
Yep.
listening.
And share our statuses. You can join my Facebook, Jane McGuire, and then we have a Facebook page, Synchronicity and Your Life.
Yep.
And
And you
you
can join mine,
Yep.
which is Elena Risto.
Yep.
And coming soon, should have been up
Yes.
by now, it's Racing You and Your Website.
Oh, actually, okay. I got more.
Actually, I have a Facebook page coming up called ElenaRistoHealer.com,
Okay.
and there's already one up called Shamanic Song, but I'm not pushing that because I'm going to back off. Of
and
that one.
I've actually published my website today, which I've been working on it for a couple of weeks.
This
Pranic,
has been an evolution.
I know, Pranic Jane LV, and it's on the Wix domain, so there's
Yep.
lots of Wix ads. But if you type in Pranic Jane LV, you will come up with my website, and I got a couple testimonials on there, and
Oh, you're
and
ahead of me
stuff.
on that one.
and and a link to the show, and a link to All Talk.
Well, you are ahead of me on that one. It's a
I've-
race now.
You know.
Check it in 2 days, girlfriend.
Well, you're going to be racing out of town tomorrow at dark 30 in the morning.
Yeah, but I'll have my laptop on the plane, and I'm on a Wi-Fi plane.
And make
so-
sure that you turn your cell phone on when you get onto the plane. Oh, we have a caller already. Welcome to Synchronicity in Your Life.
Yeah.
Nope. Well, speaking of callers, if you want to call in, it is the same number, even though we're at a different studio, and that number is 702-609-7626. And our topic for tonight is how to find an alternative healer, tips and questions to ask a potential alternative healer, and then red flags to watch out for.
Yeah, I want to step back a minute into last week because I was listening to our show that we did last week, and I want to clear up a couple of things about stress.
Okay.
Because we talked about it in many different ways, and I want people to understand that it's used predominantly as a negative thing sometimes, and by definition, it really is just applying force to a situation, a person, emotions, and what happens is that stress causes a reaction.
Right.
And so the reaction then becomes another new kind of stress. And that's the kind of stress that the medical doctors are talking about. You're
Right.
under too much stress. So it's your reaction to stress that becomes more stress.
It absolutely
Stress
is.
2, the son of stress, whatever
Yeah.
that is.
And it's emotion based, stress is, and then becomes, because that's energy, comes into our energy field and comes into our bodies.
Right. When it's physically based, then we have things like cuts on your thumb.
Right.
Because you didn't know how to slice an apple like I didn't.
Or,
you know.
things like car accidents, which are obviously
Yeah,
physical stress.
This is emotional
Yeah.
stress, so it's your reaction to things that are happening outside of you in different ways.
And
And
I've
that's
had-
the way you're reacting.
And I've sort of had a similar discussion with a couple of people when I've done some work on them, and they've said they're not stressed. And I said, well, your body reacts to things like we're talking about. So if you've had a car accident, that does put your body under stress. You may feel relaxed, but if you've got pain in your body, that's an indicator that your body is got a level of stress that needs to be dealt with.
And you can also have a conversation. You can have a good conversation that causes. That was the point that I wanted to make, is that it's not just bad things that happen. It's it is the level of stress that comes up in the bucket, stress level bucket. When it tips over, when it gets too high, then you start having problems.
Right, exactly.
So the ideal is, to cap everything from last week, is do little things more often. I personally tend to be somebody who, I'm the person you want in a crisis, because I just react.
Yeah, you do.
I just do what I need to do, and thinking, well, I'll get back to how I feel about the situation later.
Yeah.
I spent years doing that, wondering why I spent years in depression, because I wasn't feeling what was going on.
Yeah.
Depression, which is really anger coming in on it, reversing itself.
Depression is anger turned inwards.
Inwards. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I've said that to a few people, and the light goes on. You can see the light bulb above their head, and they're like, "Oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense when you explain it that way."
And I literally ate it. I mean,
ate your depression?
I ate my depression. I swallowed it, literally, with cookies and whatever, and way heavier than I am.
Well,
now,
I come from
caused much problems.
I come from a family of chocoholics.
I hate you because you don't look like.
Well,
does she look like it, George? She doesn't look like it.
As a matter of fact, no. I'm starting to hate her now.
And then this lesson is laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah.
But it was, my mom, made pies and cakes and 4 bags of cookies and all this stuff. But at the same time, I wasn't in that generation where we stayed home and watched television. I had to walk the dog every day. I played tennis. I had swimming lessons. I went skiing. I was very active, and that's what I've done with my kids.
This is going to sound rude. Could you turn her down just a hair, because it's a little sharp in my headphones. That's all right. No, it's not you.
She's turning me down.
Turning you down. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Yeah, see, and I spent a great amount of time, even though I was on a farm and I went outside when I could, I had a lot of time in the house because of my sister.
Right.
So food became my best friend.
Right.
So
but you were also raised by an alternative healer, though.
I was in a situation where I was raised in alternative healing situations, which is a great little dovetail.
It is. It's a great little dovetail into our topic.
You did that so well, Jane. Wished I'd have written that,
Well, and I was raised not that way. As I've said before, I'm the daughter of 2 lawyers. So everything is black and white.
I'm really sorry about that.
Actually, as much as I make fun of that, they did,
there's good lawyers out there. There's just so many bad lawyers.
That's true. And I'll tell you just a brief segue out of that. I was a paralegal for a while here in town, and because of the background I was raised in, both of my parents had a lot of attorney friends. And I worked for a couple years at my dad's law firm, and I lasted 1 summer with my mother.
Mothers and daughters.
I know. But the thing is, though, that I was not used to the way that some attorneys talk, especially when I got here in town and I was working. Some of these attorneys actually come in and scream at the paralegals, and that was just so far out of my frame of reference.
Talk about stress.
Yeah, it was very stressful, but it was a good thing for me to learn, because the situation got resolved to the highest good, but I just wasn't prepared for somebody to scream at me like that. I mean, my parents would yell, but when I got to a certain age, it wasn't that anymore.
Well, children are inherently know when to tune it out.
Right, exactly. So I just go upstairs and put on my good old record player.
Yeah, louder than they were.
Right. So, but the thing is that it was completely out of my frame of reference, and it was a good lesson. I look back now, because it did definitely raise my stress level, and being a paralegal in family law is nothing but combative, because I wasn't working for attorneys that do easy cases. I was working for attorneys that took complex law cases on, and it did get to be very stressful, and that is eventually why I had to leave the paralegal field.
I think you just brought up a really good point, is that it's not that we're going to eliminate stress, it's that how do we deal with it?
Yeah, it took me a year and a half to recover from all of that, and I literally did not work for a year and a half. I had to take that time off, but and actually in that time I decided when I was going to go back to work that I wanted to work for a natural store. This is how the universe got me into it. So I went and worked for a massage place that was also a place that sold essential oils and things like that.
And
so,
the door opens.
and the door opens. So finding an alternative healer. There are so many different. We're about to get our picture taken.
Yeah, I'm not going to look at him. I always do stupid things when I do that.
So
when I set it up to do that, it's no.
So, especially here in Las Vegas, but this applies anywhere that you're living, anywhere in the world. There's
Yeah.
a lot of different modalities.
Yeah,
And
there are. There's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
And we were just sitting at the breakfast table this morning with a shamanic healer,
Yeah.
a sound healer,
Mhm.
pranic healer,
Mhm.
a channel,
Mhm.
right? Mind, body, spirit healer, a Reiki master.
From Poland.
From Poland.
That was
Yeah,
awesome.
Reiki
Yeah.
master from Poland, right?
Mhm.
I hope she's listening because I sent her
Yeah.
a deal.
Yeah.
You know, so there's all these different modalities, and the question came up when we were talking after the show last week of that. How do you know where to start?
Mhm.
Now, I think sometimes, like you just mentioned, that you went to work in a store and you were going what? You went with the intention of getting a job.
I went with the intention of getting a job and learning how to use essential oils to relax because I had decided I was on a different medication for my epilepsy at the time, and it was causing a lot of fatigue, which is a very normal thing for epilepsy. And I was drinking a lot of Coca-Cola and coffee to stay awake. And I wanted to look at doing this in a different way. So I've since gotten off of soda. But I looked at, using essential oils and lotions or something like that that gave me energy. And so that was my segue into it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was kind of born into it.
Yeah, you
Because I
were.
was kind of delivered at home by a chiropractor / osteopathic physician
Slash musician.
/ musician.
Yeah, sound
So
healer.
it was the menu was
Right.
the menu was in the stars before I ever got here.
Exactly.
I think but still, if there have been times in my life when I didn't for 10 years I didn't sing a note. I didn't practice any energy healing, and what I found as I went along the way, there were certain things that came into my path. Like I had a woman, I think I've spoken about her before on the show, that did astrology, and she was the grandmother's astrology, learned at the knee of her grandmother, and so I learned that. But what it would call me, something would get my attention, and I would find this curiosity that I wanted to understand. What is that all about? Oh, we have a call.
Oh, welcome to Synchronicity in your life.
Hi.
Hi.
Am I on the radio right now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, yes, you are.
Incredible.
Okay. Is Lainey there?
Yes, Lainey's here.
I'm here.
Okay. Awesome.
Who's this?
Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi. I haven't talked to you in so long.
I know. I saw your name the other day, and I thought, well, I wonder how Rebecca is, so maybe she'll show up.
So you manifested the call.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. That's great. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Doing pretty good. I just wanted to ask you. You guys were talking about stress, right?
Right. Yeah, we did last week, but we opened the show with it. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and ask whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was just wondering, what are some ways that, you guys handle stress, spiritually?
Oh, in our own lives. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of be, I don't know, maybe
Okay.
your soul or, your spirits are kind of making you stressed out.
Well, I mean, there's some things that you can do you can do things like listen to the music, but music you enjoy, not something that somebody else enjoys,
Right.
something that you enjoy. You can do things like that. Those are kind of obvious things. But I find the ones that relieve my stress, being a spiritual healer, are the things that take some kind of action. And this is going to sound funny because it doesn't sound like action, but I try to at least 3 or 4 times a week wake up without an alarm.
Yeah.
That jolt just adds to my stress level.
And I think a lot of feng shui practitioners would agree with you on that too.
Right. And sometimes a certain color. Do you like do you have a favorite color, Rebecca?
What?
What color do you like?
What was that?
What is your favorite color?
Oh, red.
Red. So things that are red you can place around you. There's something about that color that speaks to you. I wouldn't do a flaming caution red. I wouldn't do an orange
I'd
red.
do a lighter
But
red.
like a rose red, which I think is that's what I was getting when you said red, you know. So you might go buy yourself a rose. So that is the first thing when you wake up in the morning is the first thing you see and the last thing you go to bed at night. I think when you and I worked together, I think we did things like that, didn't we? Wasn't there something you would wake up and see for the very first time when you woke up in the morning?
Yeah, it was my like red blanket.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
See, now for me, I was raised Catholic, so I went back to my roots, and I pray the rosary every morning. And that gives that gives me a huge sense of inner peace and calm, and it lasts throughout the day. I mean, it could last forever, but I do it every day because for me, it charges the day. I go into there and I feel that peace, and if I get upset, then I ask Spirit to help me feel that peace again.
Yeah. Another thing you can do other than just listening to a piece of music, like for you, because people have such crazy schedules in this town.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a 24-hour town.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour town. So a crazy schedule. If there's a sound that you like, Rebecca, like is there like bells or chimes or something like that, you can set an alarm on your phone, and you make the commitment at that moment, whatever time you've set the alarm or within a short period of time, so that you actually hear that sound.
Yeah.
Now, do you have an iPhone, Rebecca? She's still
iPhone?
iPhone. Do you have an iPhone?
Oh yeah, I have an iPhone.
Okay. If you go to the App Store, there is a new program that's called Transmutation. TRANSMUTATION. Did I
Very
spell that right?
good.
Oh, I'm really good today. And you can download that app, okay? And you'll know it because it has a purple, kind of a pinkish purple picture on it with some trees on it. That is an app that was created by my teacher, Sandra Ingerman. And what you can do is you can set a time for certain sounds and certain pictures to come up on your phone.
Awesome.
So you can see it. It's not available on Android, but it's just came out. She just released it, and it came out on the app. If you want to...
And how is it again? How do you spell it?
Transmutation. It's TRANSMUTATION.
Yay.
It's twice I did that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And if you
We're
can't
so
get it,
okay.
just send me a link and I'll find it for you and send you a link to it. Okay, if you can't find it.
Okay.
But that's something
Yeah.
new that happens. Something else that you can do is, of course, since I'm a shamanic healer and I work with nature, anything that will connect you with nature. Okay, anything. You can go out, and we have such great sun here, you know.
Well, not today, but yes.
Yeah, today we had great rain.
Yeah.
Which, being from the Northwest, I'm standing out and going, oh yeah, this is cool.
This is rain. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go out in the sun in the morning, or if you find you're having a stressful day, you can go out in the sun. And interestingly enough, the more your purpose is to do something, the better it will be. So if you go out and say, I'm going to breathe in the sun 3 times, those are little things you can do that don't take any time at all.
And we were also talking about essential oils and scents, which is another way of connecting.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
And you can go out and
Yeah,
you can get an essential.
What's your name again?
I'm Jane McGuire.
Jamie.
Jane.
Jamie.
Jane.
Jane. Okay. So like you brought up a good point. It's just like that. Like I have a lot of friends, or not really friends, but I have like one coworker, and you were talking about how like you were trying to get your energy right from like green, like tea, or like other things or whatever. And you brought up a good point. Like you're on medication, but you're not trying to take like other medication to like bring energy to you. Like, and one of my coworkers was the other day took Adderall to be awake, and I wanted to tell her like there's other ways to be awake. Like I drank some green tea before work, to be awake, and you brought up a really good point. Like there's other ways to do stuff like the relaxing with the bath oils and stuff like that.
Right.
So.
Right.
And black tea is actually very good for being awake. They actually call it awake
Keeps
tea.
me awake till 4 in the morning.
Right. But I was going to say with the essential oils too, though, you can go out to any place that sells essential oils, and those are different from scented oils.
Right.
And you can get an aroma lamp and burn a flower, or you can burn a citrus, you can burn rose, you can burn lavender, you can burn anything like that, because when you have a floral scent in your home, you can even get a scented candle. It's very difficult to be depressed and stressed when you're smelling something floral.
Yeah, and you can get those little scent sticks. I just
Mhm.
bought some the other day at one of the shops in town. And you can also, for you especially, Rebecca, since I've worked with you, I can tell you right now that anything that had a lavender scent would be very good for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I need to start doing that. I just got through like a 6-day. Well, tomorrow will be my 6th day working in a row, and it's been really stressful. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like certain things have been happening to me lately, and I feel like it's more spirit doing it.
Right.
I don't want to say too much. I don't know how to describe what's happening. I just know something's been different.
Well, you know, I'm
so-
on an airplane tomorrow, so it'll be tough to get a hold of me. But why don't you? When's your day off? Is tomorrow?
Thursday, actually.
Thursday. So why on Thursday? Why don't you text me when you take some time? But one thing that's really important is to move in your own time frame. Especially when you're coming off a work schedule like you just described, your body needs to find its own rhythm. And I think part of the thing that happens is we don't give it a chance to feel that. So on your day off, it would be really good if you could take the whole day and only do what you want when you want to do it.
Right.
Sometimes we
Right.
can't. Sometimes we have to catch up on what we didn't get done because we were working.
And doing that along those lines, getting a massage, doing something
Oh,
that will get the
sounds so nice.
physical. Yeah, they're wonderful, and they get the physical stress out of your body.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything like that. But on Thursday, Rebecca, you and I have worked before. I consider you a client, and so why don't you send me a text on Thursday, and we'll set up a time, and we can just talk on the phone.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
I was also thinking about maybe another soul retrieval or something, but we'll
Sure.
talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about
Yeah.
it then. Yeah, it sounds like it almost has this feel to it, like you're ready for the next level.
That's awesome.
Good.
So-
All right. Well, thanks for talking to me, and you guys gave me some really good advice.
I have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Since
Okay.
today we wanted to talk about alternative healers,
Yeah.
and since you found me, and I believe you came through Jane.
Possibly. I know I've
I think
referred.
it was a party.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
I
Jane.
was wondering. I was like, is that
Yeah.
the psychic I talked to at the yoga place?
Yeah.
I was like, I knew it. That was so
See?
funny.
Yeah. So
she requested me. Yeah, this is like fate. Wow.
yeah. So tell us, because what we're talking about today is how do you find a healer? How do you find a healer that's going to fit with you? So you went to a party. You were invited to a party, right?
Yeah. I was invited by Synchronicity Yoga, and Angelica.
That was a long
invited
time
me.
ago.
Yeah. It was in April of last year. And they were just having, like a festive kind of thing to raise money.
It was. Yeah.
And- Yeah, to raise money for, I think, a garden in a school or something.
I think it was to raise money for a woman's son, and yeah, they were gonna that had died, and then she was raising money in his honor to do something with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just sat down with Jane, and because I was really interested, and I'm interested in the whole psychic thing. If I don't know what to call it. But I was really interested in the whole thing, and I just sat down and talked with her, and she was like, you know what, you need a soul retrieval because when blah 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 happened to you, like your soul got, it went away from you from that.
Part of your soul
That's
essence,
how I
not
found
your soul didn't abandon you,
Right.
but
Part of it.
part of it decided to disconnect, so it wasn't available to your consciousness. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of just like, I mean, you can go to like any like psychic place and they can tell you whatever, but I mean, this is kind of fate, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, it's synchronicity.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
And-
Because then she called me, and then
Mhm.
we set up a time, and we started working together. You know?
And yeah, and I will happily refer people, as you know,
Yeah,
to
and
you
I do
because
too.
you're
I
trained
refer
in
them to
yeah,
you.
and you have, you've because you're trained in things that I know work, and that I don't know how to do. And,
Oh, while we're on the subject, since I'm going to be
Mhm.
out of town for 3 weeks, if I
Right.
get any calls, I'm going to refer people
Okay.
over if they got to see somebody before I get back. You know,
Okay.
so, but yeah, thanks for sharing that, because that's really important.
course.
There's
Anytime.
a piece of finding an alternative healer that has to be. It's kind of like when the student's ready, the teacher comes forward. The same thing is true to a certain, in a lot of regards, is that when the person's ready to heal in a certain way, that person will show up for them. The next thing is, how do you recognize it, and how do you know who to trust?
And that's that's a great question. And I think you know to trust somebody when they're not in it for the money.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
don't want to keep you on the phone because we
Right.
may have other callers
Right.
coming in.
Thank you
but
for the call.
Rebecca, it was great talking to you again.
Yeah.
Call me on Thursday.
Yep. Take care.
I will. You too.
Okay. Bye.
But I think that the person, like finding a doctor or a lawyer, insurance agent, or whatever, you need to have a pretty much a clear-cut idea of what you need done and the questions to ask.
And I think the piece there also is, talk to somebody, see if you can get a list of people that have gone to them. See if you can get, now, somebody can give you names that they're only going to give you a positive thing.
Right.
But I don't think it matters if you get a referral, or somebody like you, she trusted you and you said, oh, you need to go see Lainey.
Right.
You need to see Elena. And so sometimes ask around, because if they have been there for a while, and I wouldn't go to anybody that just showed up in town without doing this process. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would do some research and find out, who are these people? Do they have a website? In this day and
Right.
age, it's kind of important to have a website or a Facebook page.
Right.
Something.
Or a radio show.
Or a radio show. Yeah. Wow, that was good. You're really on it today, She's really on it, Yeah, but something, don't be afraid to ask for information.
Yeah.
Don't be, where did you learn this? What's the story? Even if they don't. And there's some old school healers out there that I would go to in a heartbeat. But you need to be able to get their information, where are you coming from? And then I don't meet, especially if it's somebody that calls me up that has come through like Sandra Ingerman's website or Society for Shamanic Practitioners that I'm a member of. I typically meet them for coffee. Because my work that I do tends to be over time in a certain regard, and needs to I'm going to spend some time with this person, and I need to find out, what's your intention.
Right. And that's what it is about, especially if somebody has, I work, and so do you, we work with a lot of health issues and we have to clear certain things and certain energy for that health issue to heal. And
Right.
what I find is, by the time they are open to somebody like me or somebody like you, they've gone
They've gone the rounds.
They've gone the rounds, not just with other practitioners, but with the medical field
and the emotional field and
right.
the psychological field.
Right,
Yeah.
and they're not getting the whole piece, and I usually hear, I just don't want to be on medication anymore.
Right.
And
or I've tried everything and nothing is working at this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
But by the time, my experience is, by the time people show up on my doorstep, they have already gone through a process of healers, and they're already there. So let's go back to the person that's just now going, gee, I've heard of alternative energy. Now what do I do?
Right. So there's obviously, like you said, you look on the web, you look in Clark County, you could look under who's licensed where. A lot of the spas, salons, and wellness centers have bios of their practitioners.
Right.
And you can ask for testimonials. You can talk, and you can do the research also on the modality. For example, again, on my website, I have a link to the main pranic healing website, because I'm not going to reinvent that whole website to explain pranic healing.
No.
And so I link it so that if they want to look, it's linked directly to what pranic healing is. And then it talks all about who has done this. And so, anybody, I think, that's willing to do this should be willing to link you or give you information on the person that has trained you, or the organization that you're affiliated with.
Mhm.
And then, we talked about this in developing this topic, and I'm segued here really quickly. You also want to check the newspapers, I think. And didn't you find something out last week about an organization that's being sued?
Yeah, there's somebody in town that's being sued for, and this I don't want to get into a whole discussion
No.
about it, but there's a I don't want to say a craze either. There is a real what's popular right now is something in shamanism called ayahuasca. And it's a plant, a medicinal plant that they use in South America, and a very small number of indigenous tribes in South America use that for visioning purposes. Well, it's found its way into mainstream, and so people will do this, and there's a tourism thing that's happening where people will go for a week or two down into South America, and you have to be careful of those.
Yeah.
Now, you brought the point up about, what was his name with the Kool-Aid?
Oh, that was Jim Jones?
Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Now we're talking a mix of things. Not necessarily healing is involved in it, but we're talking about a way of thinking.
Right.
That's a whole different thing. That was a cult thing.
Right.
And we could do a whole show on that, which I don't want to go into right now. But there's so many ways to tap into energetic healing. That happen. I mean, we're in the studio now that we share. There's a room shared with Zenus. We said we'd mention it. Zenus Global Health.
Zenus Global Health, which is also a wellness center, and I might set up shop here.
So there's some things about that, and there's referrals. There's so much information, but to just jump in to an alternative healing situation, I would really do the research. I wish somebody would call in and tell us a bad story.
It's an
really.
interview process.
It is.
Think.
I think so
and
too.
And not every modality is going to resonate with everybody, which is why I think these wellness centers that have practitioners with different modalities work.
I do too.
Because not everybody that wants pranic healing. Not everybody's going to want shamanism. Not everybody's going to want Reiki.
No.
But you can get the combination. And it's not just the practitioner. Well, it's how you resonate, how you get along with that practitioner. You can know some of the best practitioners in the world, and guess what? You may not like them.
So let's talk for a minute, because resonate has become one of the buzzwords in the last few years. And what does that mean? What does resonate? What is that for you? Because I think it's different for everybody.
Okay, great point. For me, it is about whether that is, and you've used this before, whether it fits into my life, whether it's something that I feel would be good for me, or in essence rings true.
And then there's the body reactions.
Well, but
the
that's
hair that goes up on the back of the neck,
and,
Right.
And you pay attention to that.
You pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And when I haven't, I've been sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gone, I heard that, I felt that, and I just I had a situation not long ago, which you were familiar with, you kind of helped me get it turned around, where I worked with someone and they offered to do something for me as a trade kind of thing. And so when that happened, there was an energetic exchange. I'm talking about spiritual energy.
Right.
That didn't sit well with me. Well, before that happened, I kept getting this feeling, I need to stop this right now. I need to stop this right now. I didn't listen. Yeah. And it wasn't all that detrimental, but it certainly put me into a funk.
It knocked you out for about a day.
It felt more like a year to me. But that intuition there, we're back to the intuition and the gut instinct. If it lines up with you energetically, if you feel comfortable with it, if you feel relaxed with it, those are things to notice.
Right.
Listen to your intuition.
And one of the great ways to see if something does work with you or resonate with you, in a sense, there's a lot of people, you and me included, that do our practices in public. You do the drumming circles. I'm going to go public again with my meditations, and then there's Reiki circles on every corner, at least here in Las Vegas.
There's a lot of Reiki in this town.
And so in your area, you can look on some websites. Natural Awakenings is actually a great website. I believe they're nationwide.
Yeah, and it has a paper. It has a magazine that goes with it.
Yeah.
In this town, there's Inlight Times.
Inlight Times is actually, I believe, in surrounding states as well.
Yeah, in California.
It's in California and Arizona, and I think it's in Utah.
It might be.
But in Natural Awakenings has events that are for local areas. So we have a Natural Awakenings that is local for Las Vegas. And a lot of people will advertise, the Reiki circle, the pranic healing, the shamanic circles, all that stuff. So if you're wanting to test out a modality or a healer, attend one of those. They're usually on a love donation basis or a small fee.
And actually, we've set up a network.
Yeah.
Really, is what we were doing this morning.
healer
There's going to be
network.
a healer network, and there's 4 of us at this point.
Yeah.
And the important thing is that we all kind of come from the same place, and we're not into a fractured situation, because sometimes people get into a thing that, well, I do Reiki, and that's the way to do it. And
Right.
you know, like you said, we refer back and forth. So
Yeah.
we're open. You need to look for somebody that's open. I think
somebody that's open and will share about their modality.
Yeah.
Somebody that not only knows, like, you know, shamanic healing, but you know the
Yeah, I'm a
roots
Reiki
of your,
master.
but
Yeah.
you know the roots of your shamanic healing. You
Right.
you know that. I know the roots of pranic healing, and actually, since I did start to study Reiki, I know the roots of Reiki, but I just couldn't memorize all the symbols. That was
Well,
just
it's
too
kind of like
hard for me.
it's not that you need to know how to drive a car, but you need to know enough.
But you need to know the driver.
You need to know the driver, yeah, and you need to know or if you take your car to a mechanic, what would you do?
Right. Right.
know?
So, and that's a good point, because alternative healing right now, especially energy work, is just booming.
It's booming, and there's a lot of people out there. There's
Yeah.
a lot of different things that are coming up that haven't ever come up before.
Right. And
you know?
one of the things, we won't mention names, but you want to look at how people are interacting at these events, at shamanic drumming circles, at Reiki circles. You want to see how the regulars are interacting. And if you're seeing some things that might be a little off, then, you know, maybe that's not the right healer for you. It doesn't mean it's not the right modality.
Okay,
It
we
may
got a
not be
phone
the
call.
right. Yes, we do. Welcome to Synchronicity.
Hello, this is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Yeah,
Hello, Lainey.
I know that
How are
voice.
you? Hi, James.
Hello.
How are you doing,
So
kiddo?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Mhm.
My question that I throw out, which Lainey and I go back many years, I've been in healing and doing all that, but for somebody who is new to looking for the right healer, what advice would you give them to start their journey?
Well, you want to take this, or you want me to do it?
I would say
She listens to me all the time.
I would say just exactly what we were talking about researching alternative healing solutions. Google's a great tool to use. Talk to people that have been experienced the alternative healing modality and find out what it is they need or want. Talk to somebody that has different modalities. Again, you and I refer back and forth because you do
Right.
things I can't do. And so I would say they need to figure out what it is they want to heal. We all have to heal something. Some of us have to heal
Okay.
relationships with money. Some of us have to heal relationships with family. It's about what you want to heal in that aspect.
That's great advice.
And
Because we have to start with what they want to heal first.
Yeah, because if you'll remember, Lisa, when you and I got together, I spent a good 20 minutes to a half an hour talking to you about, so if you had a magic wand, that's my favorite line, and there's one thing that you could wake up tomorrow that would be changed, what would that be?
Yeah.
You really need, the healer really needs to know what you, I think, a responsible healer will want to know what it is that you want.
And I think people go into a massage therapist and they say, I've got this ache, I've got that ache, I've got this, and the massage therapist knows what to do.
Right.
I think it's the same thing with somebody that does energy work.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be forthright, and we're going to spend that time in consultation before we do anything.
Well, even just a psychic healer, a
Yeah.
psychic, you do that quite a bit. I'm sitting at a breakfast with 3 psychic healers this morning. Do you think that was fun? Holy-
Yes, but you're intuitive yourself.
Yeah, I know, but
You
it was
know.
fun to watch the match. Anyway, you know, it's even they will say, well, what do you want to know? And sometimes you can say, you know, I just want a general reading, or I just
Yep.
want a general whatever. You know, I don't tend to be on that end of things. But the other thing, and I think that this is, while you were talking, I was thinking, if you don't know what type of healing you want, go to a bookstore and walk in my son used to call it the woo-woo section. You know,
That's
and
how I found
see-
pranic healing.
and see
Yeah.
what book calls to you. I mean, for me with shamanism, the book Soul Retrieval literally fell off the shelf into my hand. You know, and I studied for several years with a well-known author on emotional awareness, and I had purchased the book a number of years before because I liked the color on the book.
You can
And it
purchase
sat
for-
on my shelf for like 5 years, and then I read it and went, "Whoa, this
that's
is not bad."
That's how I found pranic healing. Was I went into the now defunct Borders, and the book Your Hands Can Heal You is the one that jumped out at me, written by Master Co.
Yeah.
And it took me 3 hours to read that. and it made
Now,
sense.
I have a friend too. I would say some of these conferences, and it's getting more and more popular, to go and you get to hear several different types of people, several different authors that talk to about a specific kind of healing. Like the big one is Hay House. They do the I Can Do It conference.
I've been to that, and that is
Me too.
amazing. And actually, Doreen Virtue studied under Master Choa Koksui, the founder of pranic healing.
Yeah. I always hear that, and I think of Chop Suey every time you say it.
Well, we call him Master Choa, but the full name is Choa Koksui.
You still there, Lisa?
Yes, you did answer it, and thank you very much.
Did that help?
I love the show.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you. Thank
It
you.
helps. Yeah, totally. It definitely directs me in the right direction.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to grab in the air. But yeah, I love the question to ask.
I think the biggest single thing before she goes is that to really be aware of the little things that are happening outside you, because in my world, as you know, Lisa, in my world, spirit is probably telling you, but we're so busy looking. If you're looking one direction all the time, look in a direction you're not looking and see what pops up.
Yeah, but I think also, I mean, you say look outside. I say look inside. Listen to what your body is telling you. You know, because your body will tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I am in tune with that.
Yeah, I know you are. She's a Reiki